Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Spider-Man the Animated Series VHS style packaging. These are now 2-packs for the Spider-Man Animated Series. The first to release is the Spider-Man vs. Carnage 2-pack. The figures are okay. The Carnage is actually quite good because we've always gotten Carnage figures. Well, we had 2 Carnage figures on Bucky Cap, then we had a third one that had an all-new mold, which was similar to Bucky Cap. I'm trying to think. I don't think that one had butterfly joints. But here we get the Spider-Man 2099 body mold, which has the butterfly joints. So a much better figure in my opinion. So the Carnage is actually really, really nice. The Spider-Man figure is really, really nice. But the cell shading sucks. I just don't like the cell shading. Yeah, not a big fan. I think the blue is too light. Maybe if it was a darker blue, it would be better. The figure body itself and everything like that is really, really nice. It's a great body mold. This is the Renew Your Vows body mold. So that stuff is cool. But then, again, the cell shading, I'm just not the biggest fan of. And I know there are ways to remove the cell shading if that's something that anybody wanted to do. That is possible. We'll get tricky with the spider logo because there's some gray in the white. But if that's something that you guys wanted to do, then you could. But yeah, just not a big fan of the cell shading. Looking at the package here, we have the VHS style. I love the Spider-Man Animated Series, the logo up at the top, logo on the side. You can see Spider-Man versus Carnage. Get the artwork there. On this side, you can see the VHS style in 1, 2. They're all going to be labeled 1 and 2, I think, because the Doc Ock, Aunt May, Doc Ock says 1, Aunt May says 2, or whatever the order is. But it looks like a VHS 2-pack. I grabbed the X-Men VHS style packaging so we can kind of do a comparison. Oh, it would help if I go back a little bit so you could see the size of them. So the boxes are the same height. I know it's tricky because one is wider than the other, but it is in fact the same. So if you wanted to kind of continue, you do get somewhat of a VHS style. It's not exactly the same, but there we have it. Enough of the packaging though. Let's get back to the figures, talk about them, look at them, and get into all the good stuff. Okay, so taking a close look at Spider-Man first, so you can see there, the head sculpt looks pretty good. We get a little bit of blue in the front for the cell shading. I just don't like the cell shading. A weird blue line right there. Here around his collar, on his chest, you get some blue. Shoulder, arm, forearm, as you can see throughout his body. We get a little bit of gray in the white of the spider logo, some blue there. Then down on the legs and onto the feet. I just don't like the shade of blue. Like I completely understand what they're going for. Oftentimes, you know, when a hero or a character is wearing black, they do the shading. They use a blue color, usually a darker blue color. That's my biggest complaint on this. Is just really the shade of blue. I'm not a fan of this shade of blue. We don't have a Peter Parker head sculpt, which I think is terrible. But I think what's going to happen is, and I hope, and this better be the case. I think we're going to get another 2-pack at some point that's going to be Peter Parker and Mary Jane. If we don't get that 2-pack, I'm going to be upset because that would be the biggest missed opportunity ever. If we're going to get a damn Aunt May figure, we need to get that Peter Parker and that Mary Jane, and it needs to be a 2-pack. I'm going to say it right now. That's what it has to be because we're not getting Peter Parker head sculpts yet. That better be the damn reason why. Anyway, this Spider-Man comes with whip hands. He also comes with wall-crawling hands and fists. So out of the package, he already has a wall-crawling hand on there, and then he already has a fist on there. Moving on into Carnage. So Carnage doesn't have a traditional sense of cell shading because the figure itself, the character design for Carnage is basically like cell shading. So throughout the figure, there's not a whole lot going on here. The head sculpt is not new. We've seen it before. Just get pink on the inside and then his jaw is all black and everything like that to kind of match the animated series there. That looks pretty good. We also get a Cletus Cassidy head sculpt. This is the same that we've gotten before. Basically looks the exact same. I will do side-by-side comparisons of the Carnage figures a little bit later on, but we have that Cletus Cassidy head sculpt there. We also get a larger claw hand to go along with Carnage. As he has the 2 large claw hands, and then we get this additional one here. And then we also get some additional tendrils, which I had completely forgotten about. So this will actually port on into his back. So looking at the black markings on his back there, and then we get the tendril that will attach. And I don't know if that's upside down. Does it fit like that? That kind of works. I feel like Is that right? Is this the same that we've gotten before? It looks... That doesn't really look the same, does it? You know what's funny is it should be the same? Hold on. I have it ported in this way. Okay, that's probably how it's supposed to be ported on. The shape of it itself is kind of weird, but that's probably just because over time it kind of droops down and things like that. So we do get the symbiote tendrils that you can port on in the back. I'm not the biggest fan, so for the rest of this video, just so it doesn't really get in the way, I'm going to remove it. I kind of like the way he looks without it. But looking at the figure again, the black design of Carnage itself with the symbiote lends to be, you know, cell shading all on its own. We don't get as much black throughout the figure like we did on the previous Carnage figures. As you can tell, there's just not nearly as much. So it's just kind of in certain areas that makes it look like it would be cell shading, but essentially that is the character design. And I don't actually mind the way it looks. I kind of like the bright red. I kind of like the black that goes in there. I think it actually looks kind of nice. One additional accessory that we get for Carnage is the big hand axe that we had gotten previously before, but you get some of the black in there for the cell shading, which actually looks really nice. I like that added touch with that black paint in there, and I think that looks really good. Again, it's not a new axe. We've seen it before, but, you know, nice touch, and that essentially acts as his right hand, as you can see there, and it does have a vertical hinge to it, so that is pretty cool. But yeah, really two good-looking figures, minus the cell shading. The color of blue on Spider-Man, darker blue, I think would have been so much better. But let's go ahead and quickly run through their articulation. Okay, we're going to run through Carnage quickly. Carnage can look down all the way there because his head is on a disc hinge. He can look up an insane amount as well. That is fantastic. That is great. Full rotation in there. He actually does get a little bit of pivot in there. Not a huge amount, but he does get some. The shoulder can go out that far. You get a full rotation in there on that shoulder, of course. There is the butterfly joint, so you can get the arm to go back, which will get Carnage into a lot more like crazy, scary poses than the Bucky Cap figure would have allowed. And then butterfly to the front allows a little bit of crossbody going on there. Upper bicep swivel, he does have pins, but all the pins and the reds really match up. The only spot where it doesn't is that tiny little bit, which could have been black. So the pins really don't bother me. Pinless would be nice. Pinless is always better, but you know, it's not a huge problem when the colors themselves match. But double jointed elbow, you get that much bend there, depending on which one you kind of bend it, but you get that much bend. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. They all have the standard horizontal hinge, except for the axe hand, which does have the vertical hinge, of course. Ab crunch, so Carnage can lean forward that much. He can go back that much, which is pretty good. You get a waist swivel in there. Legs go out that far apart. Is that new? I'm trying to think. Do the Spider-Man 2099 legs do the splits like this? I feel like they don't. That is incredible right there. That is pretty good. I feel like that is a marked improvement over the legs. And you can kick forward very high. Goes back slightly. Upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pinned knee, because again, this is reused body. So the reds all match in a line. So it's not really too much of an issue. Pinless is better before people get all crazy. Yes, pinless is better. Calf swivel. Foot hinges all the way down. Some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So there is Carnage. This is definitely one of their better body molds. Sometimes it can come out gummy. Mine doesn't have an issue here, so that's really good. This is still one of the best body molds that I feel like Hasbro has done. It's at the point, though, where it's getting used so much. It's like the new Bucky Cap, where it's just something reused so much. The good thing about it, though, again, is that it does have good range of motion in it. But yes, it is starting to really become overused. Here at the Spider-Man, this is again the Renew Your Vow Spider-Man, so lots of good articulation. The head is on a dumbbell joint, so he can look up that much there. He can look down that much, which is really good. You get some crazy pivot going on in there because of the dumbbell joint. Full swivel rotation on the head, of course. The shoulder you can get to go straight on out, which is great. You get a full rotation in there. You get the butterfly joint, so you can go back that much. On the cross body coming forward, you can get it to go that much across the body, which is good. Upper bicep swivel, this one is pinless, so we get Pinless elbows, double jointed. You get that much bend there at the elbow, wrist swivel, and they do hinge. All the hands have the standard horizontal hinge. Diaphragm cut, so Spider-Man can tilt to his left that much. He could tilt to his right that much. He can go back just on the diaphragm alone that much. He can come forward just on that diaphragm alone tiny bit, but then the inverted ab, so bam, he can crunch forward total that much there. He can go back total that much there. There is no way swivel on this guy, so you get the swivel at the diaphragm cut. We do get drop down hips on this guy, so drop down, upright position, so you can get the legs, you know, drop them down, and you can get them to go that far apart. Even the other one had more. Isn't that crazy? Kinking forward, you can go very high as well. Leg does go back a little bit. You get upper thigh cut in there. Pinless double jointed knee works out really well. Calf swivel there. Foot hinges down that much. You get that much hinge up. Ankle pivot, pegals at the bottom of the feet, and toe articulation. It's nice when they use it sparingly. I don't think that toe articulation is super important, but on a Spider-Man figure, yeah, I would say it belongs, just as long as we don't get like articulated fingers again. But yeah, Spider-Man has good articulation. Okay, so for some Spider-Man comparisons, so here we have the Renew Your Vows in the Spider-Man. They're different head sculpts, but these two are the same. These two are different, but these ones share the same exact body parts and everything like that, same mold, so you can see that, you know, they reuse it. Between these two, you know, there wasn't a huge difference. The Spider logos are different, though. But this one had the pinned elbows, the pinned knees, where this one, we really get that full updated pinless body and then the toe articulation. I still really like this one because I really like the Spider logo. The pins don't bother me because the figure is all black, so, you know, it really works out. Looking at the back of the Spider logo there, again, I really like the execution of the Spider logo on the retro symbiote Spider-Man, but, you know, this one still holds its place. It's just bright blue cell shading. Okay, so you can see the difference between the two Carnages. This one actually is shorter, believe it or not, than the Bucky cap. That seems weird. That seems really weird. They're more about the same height. It's just, I guess, perspective when you really have them. But looking at the different hair color, you know, we had a much darker red for the hair of Cletus before. And then this new one, we actually get some color around his eyes. And his lips to really kind of bring out the details of his face. They both look pretty crazy, like an insane. So let's go ahead and get in for a closer look because I think it's deserving to take a look at the two. Okay, so looking at him, so the older one, you know, the teeth really make him look crazy. But looking at this new one with the different hair color, you get the color around his eyes and then bring the details of his lips, I think makes him look pretty damn crazy as well. The side view of the two figures. Yeah, you guys let me know down in the comments below which Cletus Cassidy head sculpt do you like more. I kind of like this new one. Definitely liking it more. Okay, so it is an odd choice that for the retro Spider-Man Walmart exclusive cel-shaded animated series Spider-Man, that was a whole long sentence. Wyatt used the Amazing Fantasy body because it's a much smaller body. And Spider-Man, Peter Parker from the animated series, was kind of a big dude. He was a little bit bulky, right? So this figure, whoops. This figure, I can't believe I made that mistake. This figure has the right proportions, the right look, I would say. So this one really should have been on this body, or the symbiote one, to make it all match, should have used this body. So it's just weird that we got that. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another cel-shaded red and blue suit Spider-Man in the VHS 2-pack line. I can't imagine that Hasbro would not release a blue and red suit Spider-Man, and I would imagine it would be on this body, not this one. This one was a nice touch to make it exclusive to Walmart of all places, which would be the worst because people had such a hard time getting it. Just absolutely ridiculous. There's no way that Hasbro doesn't give us a new red and blue suit Spider-Man because this one is just technically too small for that version of Spider-Man. This one would be really nice, and it would be good to have them like matching up because if this is supposed to be the same exact person, there's a problem, right? It's just not really well thought out, I think, or maybe there's plans there just to get more money out of us. That wouldn't surprise me. But there has to be another Spider-Man coming. But I would love it if we can really get one that's going to be kind of scaled out well to really match the three. But so silly me, I finished this review And this, I know, clip is going to seem like it came out of nowhere and then it's going to go back to normal. I cannot believe how I continued on and completely forgot about the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Venom cel-shaded figure. Like, what in the world was I thinking? How did I forget that figure even existed? There's something wrong with me, because it is such a damn good figure for me to not have included. Now that I look at it, this blue on this Venom is actually a lighter shade than the symbiote Spider-Man. Why on this one it didn't seem to bother me, but on this one it does? I'm not sure. Kind of weird. The symbiote Spider-Man has a darker black than this Venom figure. Maybe that's like the difference, because this Venom, seeing these two together, it's almost like a dark gray next to a black color. So let's get in for a closer look between the two. Okay, so looking in at closer, you can see that the symbiote Spider-Man is just a little bit darker in color, so it's almost like a dark gray versus black, and maybe that makes the difference when it comes to the blues. But you could see that the symbiote Spider-Man actually has a darker blue, and that's what I wanted. But on the Venom, I guess it doesn't bother me as much. It's kind of weird, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a fan of the cel shade pattern that they did for Spider-Man, or maybe it's because the blue and red complement each other on the Venom. It's kind of weird, but there is the comparison with these two that I had completely forgot initially and just randomly put in this clip for you guys to enjoy. But Spider-Man the Animated Series was my favorite growing up, along with the X-Men Animated Series, Batman the Animated Series, of course. But Spider-Man was my favorite. I do find it a little bit difficult to get into and to watch now that I'm older. I don't think it holds up nearly as well as like the X-Men Animated Series did. But I still love the show. It still holds a special place in my heart. I had so many of the action figures from the animated show when I was a kid. So I'm really excited to get these new VHS ones. The Doc Ock and Aunt May 2-pack is super exciting. And I can't wait to see what else Hasbro has in store. I don't know exactly how many packs they're going to give us. I think X-Men had 8 different packs. Spider-Man, I don't know that we'll get 8 different ones, since they're 2-packs. That'd be 16 figures, or maybe there's going to be 4 of them spread throughout the year. Who knows? But you guys let me know down in the comments below. What are some of the characters you would like to see? I would love to see a blue Punisher with the trench coat. Maybe even another Nick Fury. Morbius would be really cool, but I would like to see younger Vulture too. The list goes on, but absolute have to is a must is a Peter Parker and a Mary Jane 2-pack. Have to. Let me know if you guys agree with me down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.